Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to talk about creating a user and then logging into the user. So it's always not advisable to use the root user account for your AWS service. So if you just go to AWS homepage, you should be able to access IAM because you've recently accessed this particular service. If not, then just type IAM over here on the search bar. So it should end up leaving you to IAM service. And within that service, you will have something called user. So now you can create a user. So there are other options like user groups, as in you can create groups of users or multiple users. Like for example, you can create a group for developers, testers, administrators. So likewise, you can create multiple groups and then add users upon it. Or just create a user over here. So I'm just going to create a user over here, and then I'm just going to give a test user. Now, roles are like, it is more affiliated with services. When a service wants to execute some kind of a work on a, let's just say, for example, that an EC2 instance wants to execute a particular file system storage on S3 service. Now, you kind of assign roles to the EC2. So that it can actually access or have the privileges to access the S3, and then, transfer those files there. So basically roles are for the services, which is going to be configured as part of your default, roles and operations. In terms of policies, policies are basically the fine-grained permission, which is going to be given to your users, your groups, your roles. So your roles will be mapping policies under it. Users will be mapping policies under it. Groups will be mapping policies under it. So all these three will refer to a policy. Policy is basically providing permission, the direct permission to a specific service. And roles are basically a temporary permission to a policy by any services which it requires. So roles are more temporary and it can only be accessed whenever there is some requirement by that particular service. Policies are like more of a permanent stuff which will be mapped to your users and groups. Now, there are this multiple policies which you will see, which is very important for us. Those policies are filtered by the type of job function. So if you see the job function, there is like specific job functions over here. But if you see your managed AWS managed functions or types of policies, you're going to get a lot of it. But job function is basically like what majorly a specific administrator would assign to people. And these people are like billing, database administrator, and then administrator who has complete access towards things. And then data scientist, network administrator. So each of these policies comes with a different set of permissions, which means it defines a specific set of permission for a specific feature of your AWS services. Like for example, let's just say your network administrator will have more networking related stuff. Like for example, he has a effect allow, and then the action is going to be CloudWatch, auto-scaling EC2 instances. He can delete, he can create all those things, he can describe. So likewise, you can see a lot of functions, Elastic, and then logs, Route 53. There's a little DNS services, and then SNS services. Likewise, it has like all these resources defined under it. And you can also see some of the other effects on these services, and it is allowing these, particular services to be allowed. So likewise, you will see more of a network related items over here. And you can see related to IAM, you can actually get roles, list roles, and pass roles. So these are the only actions related IAM. So he will not be able to create users and provide access to those users, something like that, because he doesn't have the specific privileges to do that. Compare this with comparing this with system administrator. So he gets most of the utilization. So the code commit, which is not part of your network, is here. ACM is another service. So that is also part of part of this over here. So likewise, he has more of the rules. In terms of IAM, you can also see that this particular guy has access to Lambda system admin. So he can assign to these roles, he can add people to this role, and you can see that again, get list and past roles is maintained, and he can get users. There are extra permission given for him as a system administrator. You can get more work on the IAM service. He also has permissions to a S3 application. And then he has permission towards EC2 instance as well, like delete and recreating, and then some of the functions over here. So in the IAM roles, he also got some permission related to get accounts, list accounts, something like that. But it's not a full-fledged administrator. So if you look at the administrator access over here, so this has every permission. So you can see that there is no specific allow criteria here, and it has given star everywhere. So which means that every resource in AWS is all allowed for administrative access. So so this basically tells you that this particular policy has a lot of privileges when compared with any other item over here. So we will create a particular user in the view-only access and see how this user reacts to it. And I'll be actually using the root user to perform in the complete item. So the complete training on this will be going on with my root user or the root administrator user. So let's go ahead, create a user. Let's create a user called test. Let's go user. So it says let's provide access to AWS Management Console. So yes, I want to give them access to AWS Management Console. If you don't give it, then you can actually access this through command line interface. So that's like much tougher. So it's always better or the best practice to provide this option. So here it says specify a user in Identity Center, which is recommended. I want to create the user with IAM user. So you can either go for these options. So just create it with the IAM user, and then you can see auto-generated password over here. And that's going to be auto-generated password for him. User must create a new password when he logs in, or we can give a custom password also. I'm just going to give the username as the password. So I'm going to give test underscore user. So let's disable this because we don't want to change the password. Okay, so it must include 3 characters. So the capital test 123 @ underscore capital user, capital U and then SER. So test 123 @ underscore user. So this is basically something I'll copy, and I can see that is created. So I'm just gonna give it never. So what permissions? Yeah, user permission boundary. So I wanna select this from the job function, and then select view only. So all this access will be just a view for him. So if you see that SID is general view only access statement, and when you come down in this access related query, you can see that basically it is assigned with read only permissions over here, and nothing like a delete or create permissions will be given here. It will be all list, as you can see, list, and get. So there's not much of a delete or create functions you would see. So click on next, and then you can create a new tag. It's always recommended to have a tag over here. So env is dev, and then new tag is going to be, you can talk about application name is test. So these are some of the default tags I would normally give, but if your application has a specific requirement on tagging, so you can also provide that same. So click on create the user, and this should have created the user. So basically you have the console URL, which is basically the URL which we saw earlier, and then you can just open a private window and type in this. Don't worry, I'll remove that user. So when you use the same thing, you won't be able to get in. So show password, just copy your password over here, and then just sign in. Now he will be able to access the administrator console just like you do. But the only thing is that he'll not be able to create anything. So for example, let's just go to IAM over here. So firstly, let's see if he has access to IAM. So as you can see that you have getting this access denied exception. So you cannot actually look at the roles, or you cannot see any of the policies. Nothing is enabled for him for IAM service. So let's just go to EC2 instance over here. Let's see if he can able to see the EC2 instances. Well, he can look at the running instances. There is nothing running for sure. So there's nothing stopped or terminated at this moment. But pretty much he doesn't have access to most of the stuff over here where you can access the key pairs, dedicated host or whatever. But what you can see over here is the instances which is running. Same thing for S3 as well, S3 as a service. Well, you will be able to look at the buckets and stuff. As of now, there's no bucket. But if there is any bucket over here, you'll not be able to general bucket, directory bucket, snapshot. Nothing is there, so you don't have permission to list the bucket. So he doesn't have the bucket, any S3 bucket permission as well to look at. So most of the service is disabled for him, and most of the service he will have just the read-only permission. So do understand that there's not a lot of options as a test user you will get. The view-only user you would get. So that's pretty much I want to show you on creating a user. So if you are looking to create a user, I would recommend you changing the user with the, let's just say for the user, right? So all you have to do for him to get this full permission for him is basically go to it's a user, select the user, and we are here over here. So this is your policy which needs to be there. Permission, so just permission boundaries over here, and you can see that it's assigned with view only, and then you can change the boundary from the view only to the administrative access. So when you set this boundary, it's going to replace the existing setting over here, and that's going to enable him to do all this other functions. So let's just refresh this page. Now he has full permission, and I guess we need to switch roles. I guess we need to log off and log in. So let's just log out and log back in. Just give me a second. Let me get to the user details here. Just go to security credentials here, and you should see the URL. So open that up again. And then you can copy in the username over here, just a test user. And then the password, which is test123 _user. And then sign in. Now he should be able to access all those items, but there are certain items still the administrative user cannot do, like the cost usage or billing related stuff, because only the main user can look at this particular item. So you will not be able to see those activities like billings and stuff like that. But what he can do is like he can view all those things which was restricted for him earlier. So now there is an API error or exception over here, but still he can actually access the instance, and he can launch instance over here. So likewise, you have privileges to launch instances which was previously restricted. So pretty much a lot of functions can be done, but then if you want like full administrative permission, you can basically go back to this one, because this root user gives you the complete privileges on AWS, which is not available for most of the users. Anyways, thank you again for watching this video. I will see you on the next one.